What do things look like? Do you need more time? Or are you set?
I think we can start.
Right?
I think we can start.
Okay, good. Okay, so if that's all right, looks good. By the way, this is I know that I'm missing out on all the little things on top of the letters, but that means university, right?
Yeah.
Trung Dong,
Trường Đại học.
Trung Đại học.
Yes.
That's Viet.
Việt
Yes.
Đức means VGU.
Việt Đức.
Yeah. Vietnam and Đức means
Đức.
Germany.
Viet Đức means Germany.
Viet means Vietnam. Đức means Germany.
Okay. And Jungma means school, and Trung Đại học.
Together means university.
Okay.
Because otherwise, true, it just means school.
Yeah. And what is Đại học? What does that add?
No, Đại học means university.
Okay.
True means just like a school, a place to study.
Okay.
Then Đại học is like a university, a big institution.
Okay. Good. Okay. Now as I said, I know that there's all kinds of whatever these things, but never mind. I will not. And this means Gyeongdae. Gyeongdae means I agree. No, I mean you should pick a little bit of the language if you're. Good. Okay. So now this is the first task was not a very sophisticated one. It was just basically downloading data, but that's where things start. I mean, if you don't know where to get the data, then it's very hard to do econometrics. And sometimes you want to just look at the data without doing econometrics, and then and importantly, I mean, these policy institutions have their landing pages, and they offer all kinds of information, but it's sometimes not the information that you want to have, and so you have to get to the data sources, and you have to know how to handle that. Now, what I did is I did what I asked you to do, and let me show you what I found. So this is a Thai baht, US dollar Thai baht nominal exchange rate. I took the period average. I mean, this is not. Things may look a little bit different for you because I started the axis at 20, right? So the. Does yours look the same? Good. Okay. Okay. Right. You can mess around with the axis, and so the whole thing looks a bit more dramatic than it was, but it was dramatic, right? You see, until yeah. So what happened here? Was this an appreciation or a depreciation? Depreciation. Super cool, right? So price notation. You had all of a sudden you had to pay almost twice as many Thai baht for $1 as all the years before, right? So for a long time, Thailand had a peg or a very stable exchange rate against the dollar, and this was the so-called Asian crisis. The Asian crisis was a financial crisis where financial markets all of a sudden revised their assessment of the Thai economy, and was not just the Thai economy, it was also Malaysia, it was also Korea, and Indonesia, and a lot of these. Vietnam was not affected at that time, as far as I know, because Vietnam was a financially closed economy at that time. But Thailand was very open, and so this what happened, right? And that was, of course, now combine this with the fact that at that time, most of the liabilities that Thai firms had and Thai banks had were debt, plus it was foreign currency denominated debt. Now suppose you owe someone $1, and you get your income in Vietnamese dong. And all of a sudden, the dollar appreciates against the dong, or the dong depreciates against the dollar. So you have to pay, in this case, Thai banks and Thai companies had to pay twice as much in their own currency because they had to serve this foreign currency debt. Now this, of course, made matters worse because the creditworthiness of these Thai companies was seriously jeopardized, right? And so that was a pretty turbulent phase. And then subsequently, things got back into calmer waters and the Thai baht appreciated again. It's almost there where it was in the 90s, but not quite there. What the Thai central bank did, for example, as a reaction, it accumulated large reserves. Why? Because if you have large reserves, then if you're lucky, you can actually intervene in foreign exchange markets and prevent such a big depreciation. It doesn't always work. What also countries did, they introduced capital controls, saying it must not be so easy to pull out your money out of an economy. So talking about the International Financial Center in Ho Chi Minh City, which was kind of something like an overarching theme, it is, it's important and I think it's a good idea, but the regulation should be very wise, right? Because, and probably to learn from the Thai mistakes, that was really, Thailand was very vulnerable to that kind of currency crisis. This is a typical currency crisis situation. Okay, now then I computed, so when did the Thai baht appreciate? When did it depreciate? Well, the big thing is it depreciated very strongly, then it appreciated a little bit, then it depreciated again, and then it appreciated a little bit. Now, quite recently, there's some trend depreciation against the dollar. So the dollar has become stronger again. But it's not, such a fluctuation is not as dramatic as this one. If you count on, so here at that point, probably a lot of people in Thailand had taken up US dollar loans because they thought the exchange rate would be stable. And then all of a sudden, they had to pay almost twice as much for their loans. This is a serious blow to the economy. Now, what about the real exchange rate? So how did I compute the real exchange rate? So this is what my US dollar Thai baht real CPI-based exchange rate, or CPI-based real exchange rate looks like. So what did I do? Well, I have, does yours look similar? Good. Right, so please note, I've adjusted the axis. That's something that you can do in Excel. And I did the following. I had, right, this is the currency per, that's the Thailand, the exchange rate, national currency per US dollar, period average. This is the Thai CPI. This is the American CPI. Of course, I downloaded all this. This is, of course, the exchange rate of the dollar against the dollar. And this is the equation, right? I just multiply this thing by that thing and divide by this thing, right? I multiply the nominal exchange rate by the US CPI and divide by the Thai CPI. And you see that the nominal depreciation in in 1997 was also a real depreciation. Now, this is something that is very, very, that we often observe, that the real exchange rate is highly correlated with nominal exchange rate. So we see that, so if I had told you that this was the nominal exchange rate, probably nobody would have objected. The only sign that this was not the nominal exchange rate is that you have that very strong, or the pretty strong appreciation, real appreciation in the wake of the the Asian financial crisis, right? So going back to the previous thing, This is the nominal exchange rate. Pretty stable. And this is the real exchange rate. Now, what does that tell you about the relationship between the Thai inflation and the American inflation in that period? Was Thai inflation higher than American inflation, or was it the other way around? Well, let me write down the real exchange rate. The real exchange rate is, E times PF over PH. So that would have been E Thai baht per US dollar times CPI US A divided by the CPI Thailand. THB is the currency, THA is the country. Now, if this goes down and that is stable, what can you say about the relationship between this?
Relatively, the CPI in the US is increased higher as compared to Thailand.
No, it's just the other way around. But go ahead, right? I mean, that's exactly how you learn. So this was stable that we saw, right? And the question is, what about this? And you see that this must have gone down since this was stable. So apparently, the Thai inflation was higher. Thailand's inflation was higher than the U.S. inflation in those years leading up to the global financial crisis. And some people say this is when things, right, this is not dramatic, but people said the Thai economy lost a bit of its competitiveness. Maybe it was the Balassa-Samuelson effect. Anyway, but there was something like there was a real appreciation. Now, interestingly, when you look at this, right, you see that very strong real depreciation. This is, of course, driven by the fact that quite recently, inflation rates in the United States were higher than in Thailand. Something that in the 90s nobody would have ever expected, right? So you see that we have a mild, when you look at the nominal exchange rate, you see that, you know, it's not so strong. But when you go to the real exchange rate, you see that in real terms, there was a quite massive depreciation over the past couple of years. And that has to do with, especially in that period, the high inflation rates in the United States and compared to rather low inflation rates in Thailand. You can read that out of the real exchange rate, right? You don't need the data on the inflation. So, so much about, you know, just staring at data. Let's go to the next thing. International income comparisons. So here's a long text. Suppose you want to compare real per capita GDP levels of countries A and B. That is, you want to compute the ratio YA over YB. So suppose that, in fact, you have computed, so YA over YB, so Y is real per capita GDP in country A, and YB is real per capita GDP in country B. Data on nominal GDP levels are given in local currency units. LCU, that is this. And PBYB. And so you have two local currency units, and PA and PB are the price levels, that is GDP deflators in countries A and B respectively. The market nominal exchange rate is given by EAB. So that means how many local currency units of country B do you have to pay for one local currency unit of country A. So A is the base currency and B is the counter currency. Now suppose that you're using the market exchange rate to turn country A's nominal GDP into country B's currency units, and that you are dividing this product by country B's nominal GDP. Derive a condition that has to be satisfied for this ratio to accurately characterize relative real per capita GDP levels. Now that's a lot of stuff. Did anyone have an idea on how to approach that? It is simpler than you think.
Follow the instruction.
Go ahead. The floor is yours. I mean, I appreciate that. Or you go. One. Yep. Super. I don't know what you're saying, so I hope it's. Good. I'll let you go. I'm a bit puzzled by how you use LCU, but go ahead. And here I think, yeah, you had a lot of good ideas, but
Just we need to mention the GDP.
yeah, maybe, I mean, this is a unit, this is not a variable, but thanks a lot, right? So let me keep this as a reference, and then let me show you how I would do it. But it's not so wrong after all, right? So what you're doing is basically you have PA times YA. Oops, it's subscripts. That's the number that you get from national accounts or from, and that's in local currency units of country A. And you're dividing by YTB, which is in local currency units of country B. Now, this doesn't make sense. Why? Because, so this means it is denoted in local currency units of country A. So this could be dollars and this could be Vietnamese dong. So dividing dividing American GDP per capita, which is denoted in US dollars, by Vietnamese GDP per capita, which is denoted in Vietnamese dong, doesn't make sense. So what you do is, and that's you add the normal exchange rate. So you translate the foreign currency unit or country A's currency